Right. But let's just focus on also what has been depicted today in the Star, and this is all about the gun control, especially for the leaders. We have also that story in the Daily Nation, a cyber story. Just a one-liner, right? Just a one-liner there. This is in the Star. It's the deep states, and we can see some of these leaders who are affected by this particular directive from the IG. Aaron Chiriot, briefly, very briefly.
I'll speak with authority because I'm a commissioner in the Parliamentary Service Commission. I swore, and it is my duty to ensure that I provide services and facilities to members of Parliament. This is not a matter that is in the purview of the IG. In any case, the Parliamentary Service Commission Act that was signed into law in 2019 by the President provide for an independent, not purely independent, but for a police wing that take cares or provide VIP protection to members of Parliament that is not under the whims of this kind of political, not mobilization per se, but direct influence, where today, if you don't agree with me politically, you choose to withdraw. In fact, if the IG was to be genuine, these are not the people he has withdrawn security from. What about people like Susan Kihika, Kimani Ngujiri, people whom he took their security long time before he found them guilty or otherwise on anything?
Thank you. Right. Let's hear from you, Eseli, briefly.
It's a shame and worrisome when leaders start misusing their firearms. I think this is a fact that we must face, that there's been misuse of firearms by leaders, and I think that's dangerous. I think when a leader knows that they have got a short fuse, they should avoid carrying a gun. Because if you have a short fuse, chances that you release a bullet are very high. So I think the psychological makeup of the individual needs to be looked into before they are licensed to hold, to carry a weapon. And it's embarrassing the rest of us leaders in the country that a few amongst can actually choose to misuse a weapon that they have been given for their own protection, and they turn it against common mwananchi.
Thank you. Otiende, briefly.
Well, since we were not invited to that Royal Rumble, let me just say that Dr. Lwale and Aaron and the Tanga team should stop being crybabies and pretend to us on national television that they're the ones now advising us because they talk like some of us are in power. When, by his own admission, Halwale, for example, is the right-hand man of the Deputy President of the Republic.
I'm not saying
all these things that you're advising us here, you should advise him privately, because he's the number 2, whether it's SGR or whatever else it is. But on this one, I think that any person, and not just leader, any person who abuses firearms ought to be re-examined and it ought to be withdrawn. But that withdrawal should follow strictly in terms of abuse and criminal responsibility, not in terms of political leaning. I agree, because even at one time we in ODM, we all suffered this until we had to go to court. I think when one is in danger of abusing, it should be remembered, that leaders are given protection not because of their own fanciful position. One, it is a way of respecting the will of the electorate. But 2, it is cheaper to provide protection to a leader than to let them suffer the worst that can happen and you end up in a by-election.
Thank you.
But anyone who abuses it then must suffer the consequences of that abuse.
Thank you. Kimani Mwatangi.
Yes, thank you, Paul. I think we had this discussion last time, and this is a position we must maintain, because we must be true to our laws, to our constitution. It is enshrined in chapter 4 of our constitution, and it's not bargainable. The rights that each one of us enjoyed. You don't actually have to be a politician in the ball. As long as you're a Kenyan, those rights belong to you. And also, within our laws, statutes, and also, for example, standing orders in the House, in Parliament, there are powers and privileges. Actually, the Powers and Privileges Act of Parliament is a statute. And so there are things that are defined there, privileges and benefits, that are rightfully to those people as Kenyans. But although we have those rights to firearms, although we have rights to speech, let's also be truthful about one thing, that it is not our special preserve as elected leaders to go around saying any kind of thing you want to say anywhere. that you want to go and either divide the country, light fires in communities, ethnic stereotypes, and even abusive and bad language. And I think as long as that balance is observed, because I think, and you remember I said here about some leaders, even from our own region, you find that we have become so insensitive to where we were as a nation that you think you can just go and say anything. I think that also divide must be observed, that you can not just say anything.
Thank you, Matagi.
Or do anything,
briefly,
including shooting at nightclubs. I mean shooting anyone, because I think we also have to say Dibal.
Thank you.
It's not ordinary that a leader can just pull a gun and fire in there and shoot somebody.
Thank you,
and then the next day you laugh at the dog.
All right.
Even the two previous cartoons, you have been able to identify me. Allow me to say that in this cartoon,
which cartoon?
The one we are discussing now, I can see somebody who is Babu Owino like. And if he's the one, I would like to make the following comments as a doctor of medicine. That you cannot allow somebody to take bang, I think they call it shisha, and drink up to the wee hours of the morning and expect him to be still having the mental capacity to be able to decide whether to use or not to use a firearm.
Thank you.
It's unfortunate that the police has allowed this kind of thing. We are lauding them for what they are doing, but also condemning them to give the impression that criminal responsibility is corporate. It is not. If Babu Owino or somebody else has got criminal activity, they should focus on the individual rather than say a blanket that all members of parliament associated with the deputy president are likely to shoot people and therefore they should be disarmed.
All right, Jacoyo.
Dibal, this is a case that the police must deal with and the court must deal with. There are 4 noisy clubs in the upmarket which the court closed. You must begin from the point that even this club and the shisha and there's something they call wisdom, which they put in it. It is all drugs. If politicians must carry guns, then we must withdraw their security. Because the policeman you are keeping in the nightclub until morning is the policeman who is protecting you. So why do you need a gun?
Yes, sir.
Withdraw those licenses, and I think there are too many illegalities that the police. If a policeman was to misuse his gun, he is sent home immediately.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Jacob.